As I was diagnosed with unbalanced AVSD, coarctation of the aorta, hyperplastic aortic arch and a smaller left ventricle. In layman's terms, Isaiah has half a heart and he functions on half a heart. A lot of kids like him will end up having heart transplants because their heart eventually fails. We first found out about Isaiah's heart at our 20-week scan. It was a huge shock because we were just going in to find out if he was a boy or a girl. The rest of the pregnancy was very crippling and scary because of the unknown. We hadn't met him and we didn't know how bad his heart was until he was born. All anyone wants is a healthy baby and a healthy child. At that point, I didn't care if he was a boy, a girl, if he had 11 toes, I didn't care, but the heart is something that you need your heart, and when we found out it broke my heart. So as I was born on the 16th of January 2015, he came out looking very healthy, but he was taken away straight away to NICU. At 6 days old, he went into his first open heart surgery, and wheeling him away and saying goodbye to him as he goes past the red line into surgery is absolutely heartbreaking, and I would not wish that upon anyone. It is the worst thing knowing that your son is going in to have his heart stopped and his chest cut open to give him a chance at life. That breaks your heart because you don't know if that's the last time you're going to see your son alive. No mother or father wants to say goodbye to their son, to their child. No parent should have to bury their kid, and you don't want to think about that. You just feel sick and helpless, and I remember going back to the room and curling up in a ball and just crying because I couldn't do anything. There's nothing you can do, and as a parent you want to be able to help your kids, but you can't when it comes to something like that. You can't help them, so you have to leave your child's life in the doctor's hands, and that's what we did. Research for us when it comes to childhood heart disease is huge. As I mentioned earlier with Isaiah, he was born in 2015 and he had a good chance, and if you look at him now, he's a happy, healthy boy running around. We know he's got more surgery and we know he's got more hurdles to come. So when I do think about the future, I think about positive things like research, like technology. I think it's hope. You hold on to that my son was born at the right time, that he will be able to get help. Until you're a parent of a child with congenital heart disease, you don't know how much work, how much knowledge goes into the health of these kids. The doctors, the nurses, the surgeon here is amazing. Without the research, without the funding, these doctors and nurses couldn't be here to save these kids. With everything that we've been through with Isaiah and knowing how uncertain the future can be, it's absolutely humbling to know that there's so much support out there with different organisations all around the hospital. You see it every day at Lady Cilento, and out there funding, like the Bank of Queensland, It's Possible tour. They are really making things possible for families like ours. They're making it possible to think positive about the future. Hi everyone. Thank you for having me here today and allowing me to share Isaiah's story. The video we just watched was filmed about 15 months ago. Isaiah was the ambassador for an event to raise much needed funds for the Queensland Paediatric Service, Cardiac Service here at Lady Cilento Children's Hospital. We chose to do that video and other charity events because it's our way to give back and help all heart kids. Sharing Isaiah's story and just talking about CHD creates awareness. Awareness helps to fund research for our kids and improve outcomes for the future. Since the video was shot last year, we've had a lot of highs and some lows. Isaiah has been going to childcare now 2 days a week for over a year now and absolutely loving it. I went back to work part-time, we have family outings and holidays, and we live a normal life. But how is Isaiah now? He is a thriving, energetic, tantrum-throwing, terrible twos toddler that makes me smile every day and makes me wonder where he gets all his energy from. He's supposed to have half a heart. He is so active, smart and funny, and has taught us what is really important in life. We thought we had more time before the word Fontan would come up in our appointments, but Isaiah had other ideas. For the last year, his SATs have slowly been declining. He's a bit more out of breath, more blue, you get my drift. So 4 months ago, we went off for a cardiac cath. This was his first procedure in 2 years since the Glen, and it definitely brought back memories. It was hard saying goodbye again, the tears flowed, and the wait began. 2 hours later, we get the call. Long story short, the cath showed Isaiah's right lung was riddled with lots of AVMs, microscopic AVMs. It was explained to us that there were so many, and they're so tiny, that if they tried to plug them all, he'd have no lung left. So that's where the Fontan comes in. Since the cath back in May, we have monitored his SATs closely and continued on living our lives, waiting. 4 days ago, however, we met with Nelson, Isaiah's surgeon. We're going ahead with the Fontan sooner rather than later, he said. So just like that, Isaiah has a date and is booked in on the 27th of September in just 2.5 weeks. Having a date makes it real. The emotions flood back in, but also for me, it's a relief. I want it done, out of the way, so we can go back home and get back to our normal routine. When I say normal, I mean normal for us as a family. I know every kid's heart journey is different, but with Isaiah, we treat him the same as his heart-healthy older brother. Parks, mall, childcare, beaches, more parks. Yes, we have daily meds, cardiac checkups, etc., but that's all part of our normal. Isaiah is now 2 years and 8 months old, still too young to quite understand his story, but I do. I am his rock, and I like to think that I am strong. But sometimes when I look at Isaiah, it makes me cry. Sometimes when Isaiah is asleep, I'll cry. I cry for my son because he's so innocent, and that smile of his breaks my heart as he has no idea of the journey ahead of him. I do. I wish I could fix him, trade places with him, but I can't. I cry because the unknown and the what-ifs scare the hell out of me. I don't want to see my son in pain, or worse, I don't want to bury him. Generally, I look at Isaiah's journey with an open mind, positive, hopeful, but those what-ifs rear their ugly heads every now and then. What if his Fontan fails? What if he's the 2%? Will his heart fail? Will he need a heart transplant? What if there are no hearts available? There are so many thoughts and so many unknowns. It's a butterfly in my stomach, the anxiety, the burden, but it's shut out most of the time. These are just some things I find difficult, but every day with him is a blessing, and we are thankful every day that Isaiah chose us to be his parents. I think every heart parent has these moments, these thoughts, sometimes or some days, but we soldier on, we live our lives, create awesome memories, jump each hurdle as they come, and be strong for our kids. What makes this journey easier is knowing we are not alone. We have met other heart families along the way. We have such an amazing team here at Lady Salento. The cardiologists, surgeons and nurses are my superheroes. We have charities and research programs like Heart Kids Australia and the Fontan Registry, just to name a few, and this all gives us hope. I can tell you that in just a few weeks, Isaiah will be going on that registry, and one day when he grows into a young man, I hope he can stand up here in front of his own family and tell his own story. Tell the future families about his Fontan circulation, his journey with CHD, the good, the bad, more good I hope, and that living with half a heart, does not mean living half a life. Thank you so much for having me here today to share a snippet of our lives and to share Isaiah's story. Thank you.